when okay, we can start. So good afternoon all. It's a pleasure to have this ideational workshop. We are preparing this according to the plan for the coding challenges for Ukraine. Today we have the pleasure to have with us Mr. Ruslan Kostetsky. He's the deputy chairman of the board of the Ukrainian Association of Fintech and Innovation Companies, and he will discuss about the Ukrainian challenges during the war for fintech and innovation companies. So, Mr. Kostetsky, the floor is yours. We can see your screen, and welcome on board.
Thank you, Teo, for introduction. Thank you, everyone who joined us today for the seminar of Ukrainian Association of Fintech and Innovation Companies. And we would like to introduce our small research which we made for this event and presented the workshop. We call this workshop Ukrainian Challenges During the War, and everyone is welcome to make his own ideas during the workshop and after, and participate in the hackathon. So starting the presentation, a few words about workshop. It's a workshop dedicated to situation in Ukraine and abroad. From the beginning of the war, we had like 1 day of the war, 2 days, 1 week, 1 month. Today we are more than 3 months in the war time, and probably it will last a few months more. So everyone should be strong and be ready for this time to keep Ukrainian and support Ukraine with ideas and own support. So here we want to give some indicators and existing projects which are created around Ukraine, Ukrainians who are inside Ukraine and abroad. It's not a guide for you to use something, but it's a hit to you to make an idea and probably implement this idea in practice. The seminar and workshop is dedicated to refugees, internally displaced persons, and small and medium business. I would like to thank again to our partners who organized the hackathon. It's European Digital Finance Association, it's European Commission who supported us in this activity, and Crowd Policy, who powered the event and is helping us in the whole process. Challenges of the hackathon for the participants. It's a social resilience and fight against disinformation. It's financial payment services, insurance, including DeFi and Web3. It's cybersecurity, it's logistics, coordination and information services, professional and education services, and the category which you can choose by yourself if you see the potential of this topic or idea to resolve some issues or help Ukraine. Small numbers about refugees which were fleeing Ukraine. You can see that about 6 million people, or 15% of Ukrainian population, left Ukraine, and you see the countries which accepted Ukrainians. So it's not only Ukrainians who directly went from Ukraine with the beginning of the war, but also people who already stayed in different countries before the war, and they had to stay there longer because it was no chance to return to Ukraine after the beginning of the war. And all these countries are very welcome for Ukrainians. A lot of projects you will see later were started, created, and are running for Ukrainians to support them and give them any needed help. Internally displaced persons in Ukraine, we evaluate about 7 million people, and it's also like more than 15% of population. So you can see that almost 30% of population of Ukraine had to leave their homes, some to international countries and some internally in Ukraine. And mostly international refugees, it's women and people who leave their homes inside Ukraine. It's like families, men, because man is not allowed to leave Ukraine due to war situation in Ukraine. So 30% of Ukrainians are not living at their homes, part of them abroad and part of them Ukraine. What other problems we see right now in Ukraine with the refugees, small and medium business, and internally displaced people? First of all, for small and medium business, it's relocation, it's losses caused by the war, it stopped business and losing of the market. And the problem is that small and medium business was the core part of economy which was paying taxes. And here, if we receive grants, we receive any support from our international partners, we get any aid for relocation or support of starting the activities. The main problem is that the bigger part of these companies stop to pay taxes, and country is in very difficult situation because they need to search for any funds abroad for donations to support the economy. And maybe one of our role, and maybe it will be some ideas during the hackathon, to help Ukrainian companies to restart or start the as usual activities, business activities, to proceed with the earning money and paying taxes. And probably it will be the #1 opportunity for Ukraine to go to this aim and then to start to help the smaller companies and weaker who need additional support, additional rules maybe, and maybe some lower taxes from the state for their reactivation. If you see the problems in the business, you will see that in top 5 problems which Ukrainian small and medium business right now is facing, it's destruction of supply chains, it's loss of customers, insufficient funding, unpredictable situation, and lack of sufficient demand on Ukrainian market. And you will see that it's about 20 problems which are currently arising in the state, and companies, small and medium business, are facing them to start their business again. Decisions of owners to support the business are starting from following actions. It's cost reduction, it's launch of new business lines, it's crisis management and search for funding. Also, it's search for channels of sales, because war introduced new challenges. Like nobody was thinking before the war that they will need active export operations. And if you need export operations, besides like IT sector or ITC sector, if you are in some production, you need to know language, you need to have partners, you need to know process, and you need to know some currency rules, etc., etc. So now these small companies need to gain all this experience during a very short period, like days, weeks, to stay alive. And much of them are doing this. Besides doing this, they're trying to help Ukrainian military forces. They're trying to help people who is moving from Eastern Ukraine, from South Ukraine to the Western and central areas of Ukraine. Current situation in Ukraine could be described that in total, under our research, we defined about 140 projects that are aiming at helping Ukraine and Ukrainian people. These projects are carrying very active operations, and people are really doing it fast, because all these projects, I will talk later, were created not before the war. They were created during the last 3 months, and they have very big influence on the situation. And we hope that after these 3 months, we will get more projects, more ideas, and more helpful assistance to Ukrainians, which will help them to survive and probably came back home in the nearest future. So you can see about 11 blocks with topics. And in the left side, you will see countries and current total projects to help Ukrainians in this country. It's about 30 countries who are right now helping Ukraine, and in the first row is Poland with the 22 projects. You will see later on slides every topic more detailed information, but here you will see that 11 topics are covered, and the most popular topic is for sure it's shelter and information, because people are looking where to live and they need information where they go abroad or they are leaving their homes. So coming to the detailed overview of every topic, we will start from fintech, and we would like to outline that fintech started not from the first day. However, any collection of money for military forces for aid was made by donations, and these donations were supported by fintech companies, by payment systems, and all these transfers were supported by members even of Ukrainian Fintech Association. From the beginning of the war, a lot of companies canceled the commissions for international transfers, made the charitable NFT auctions, raised assistance in raising funds for humanitarian needs through cryptocurrencies, as well as the issuance of material humanitarian aid from cryptocurrencies. And here we can outline that in fintech, we got support in cross-border payments, in blockchain and neobank. One of national Ukrainian projects is United 24. Thanks to the president of Ukraine, was launched a fund to select the aids and donations to the Ukrainian to the Ukraine, and all the payments are coming to the account in the National Bank of Ukraine. Then they're split to different receivers like military forces and others. Also, we can see that later different international companies also launched their activities to help Ukrainians. It were neobanks who joined to help Ukraine. It was international neobanks who allowed to open accounts, Ukrainian neobanks who helped people to buy military bonds and started this activity to help the country to receive additional funding. Also, it was opportunities of international companies to give some money aid to Ukrainians who were staying abroad. And here we can see that Binance Charity was launching the activity to help Ukrainians with donations. In legal, we can see that the geography of this topic is very vast. From any country where people went from Ukraine. And this topic is covering the creation of chatbots, call centers for Ukrainians, creating of legal websites and contact aggregator. It could be like a site which is helping Ukrainians with different kinds of services like informational-based trainings, some quick response to the question if people have some changes to the laws, etc. Or it's a chatbot which is answering the questions if a person can say what need it has and if it's a legal question and who can help. Next one, and probably the most popular, is shelter. And this category was covered in every country where Ukrainians were going and looking for shelter. And the only problem with this topic, if we see the history and the situation right now, it's a problem that a number of existing projects is very big, but the only drawback to all of them, or mostly all of them, it's that information is not relevant in the time when person is looking for shelter. So we understand that people are moving very quickly and shelters are being taken also very quickly. And here maybe it's not a problem of the automation or platforms, but the inflow of people who are coming, and then other people could not find what they're looking for immediately. But with some time, they are in any way receiving the shelter and cover their needs. And here we also can divide the shelter in two sides. First one is shelter outside of Ukraine and shelter inside of Ukraine. And if we look at Ukrainian platforms and projects, a lot of them are in the Western Ukraine, in the territories which are not hit by war seriously. And if we see to the international sides, they differ from country to country with different opportunities. For example, some countries give hotels for people, some people in different countries are giving their homes, houses, flats, etc. And the platforms are helping people to make the road to the shelter as quick as possible and as comfortable. Animal rescue. This topic is very active from the very first day of the war, because a lot of animals left in Ukraine, but a lot of animals were also taken abroad. And we see that appeared initiatives which helped people to rescue animals by international organizations, by self-organized groups, by social network volunteers, and also by charity funds who finance these opportunities. A lot of animals were taken to abroad by Ukrainians, and currently they are staying in different countries. By time they will probably return to Ukraine, and it's a very long story of these projects, how they help and will help Ukrainians who are supporting animals and rescue them in these difficult times. Information is the next block, and here we would like to outline the issues in this category that people are looking for information when they appear in any country. These projects are made in chatbots or mobile applications. People are looking for contact aggregators for information to find Ukrainians near them, to go children to school, and to find any support they need during staying in foreign countries. Humanitarian topic is covered by volunteers and charity funds, and here we would like to outline that humanitarian aid is supported by material payments, provision of food kits, personal protection, medical and survival equipment, and all this stuff is mostly given to Ukraine directly or to the territories which were hit by war, and right now people need this assistance. Relocation. This block has very many projects, but geographically the market is not covered. So in different countries we have opportunities for Ukrainian companies, but not in all, and probably this topic could be improved. Maybe some other ideas will appear, because it's very short time, like 3 months, when someone or some company would decide to relocate to other country, but probably this topic will be more active in other 1 to 3 months during the war and after the war probably also. Job for refugees. Here we would outline 2 segments. First one is jobs inside Ukraine and jobs outside of Ukraine. In the first wave of the war, we saw that many IT specialists started to look for job outside of Ukraine, IT companies. And right now we see that in different countries appears jobs for not only IT specialists or ITC block specialists, but also for any profession which is needed right now, and people could be paid for this. And these jobs are proposed to Ukrainians to start like immediately, and people are trying to use this opportunity as much as possible. And a lot of sites or portals, job portals, are appearing like every week or every month. So people have a lot of opportunities to find the job and stay with paid time in the country and give the country some support where they are staying. Next one is launching of courses, different sites for aggregators. And from the very beginning of the war, a lot of international platforms, learning platforms, opened the resources for free for Ukrainians. Besides this, we see that in this block appear tactical medical aid application, so people can look for this information through mobile phones by mobile application. It's courses for professions. If person need to get new information or change the profession, they can use these applications, and also to teach languages, because coming to a new country, communication with the new people has demand to know this language, or at least English or German or some other European language, and communicate with people in one language to understand each other and be in the community like a part of this. Translation services made the demand from the time people entered the countries, and here volunteers created also sites to help people, and also government services were launched to support people with translation of some documents of the needs they had in this topic. Also, here is very big need of people with disabilities who left Ukraine and is staying abroad, and they need the service. So partly this service is covered, and refugees need maybe more services of translation if they come to new countries where it's less Ukrainians and they see no projects on translation. Transport and logistics. Both international organizations and volunteer associations, as well as state-owned companies, were involved to these activities also from the first days of the war. And here we can divide the topic to transportation of humanitarian goods through the borders and transportation of refugees. In Ukraine, we have like outflow of logistics transportation abroad with refugees, and inflow of humanitarian goods in Ukraine, and it's done in huge volumes right now. Another one is the medical topic. In general, people receive healthcare protection in different countries, but also they need sometimes very quick support, or they need to make consultation to the doctor. So we see here some volunteers who provide free consultations of assistance, and the main segments of this topic are contact aggregators, psychology support, and emergency stomatology. So you can see an example of one of such projects on the slide, and probably we will need more of assistance in this direction. To make conclusion of the presentation, we would like to outline that from the beginning of war in February, Ukraine received huge amounts of support and help from international partners. Right now, we have many solutions to support people and to support small and medium business, but conflict is still going on, and we would like to get solutions which could give assistance not only during the war, but also after the war, because we will go to recovery process stage, and it will need more resources and more involvement of international supporters of Ukraine. However, at the same time, Ukraine is a very large country, and we would like to get our refugees back to Ukraine, make them happy, and give them jobs to build Ukraine together. To do this, we started this hackathon. You can see the detailed information about the registration. You can register to the hackathon, which will start June 17 till June 26. Right now, we are finishing with ideational workshops. Today, we have the last one. And the winner of the hackathon will get 10,000 euro as a winning prize, which will be given in Brussels on the end of hackathon. I invite all of you to make a contribution to the support and rebuilding of Ukraine and be with Ukrainians. Slava Ukraini! Героям слава!
Thank you, Ruslan, for everything. Thank you for the presentation. So, as you said, we're welcoming everybody to join us in this effort. Come with us and let's work on all these interesting ideas and help with our way in every way we can. So this is the end. I don't know if we have any questions. You can use the Q&A session here in Zoom if you want to ask anything. I don't see anything for now. Find us on the website, find us on Slack. We are live in many different channels, and we're happy to answer any questions that might arise. Once again, thank you, Ruslan. Have a great day ahead. See you all very soon. We are starting next Friday, so you have the opportunity to join us until then and reach out for everything you need. Have a great day ahead.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.